Hello, everyone, and welcome to those that have just joined today's webinar hosted by the Mental Health Advisory Board. I am Councilwoman Dr. Niyah Glover, and again, thank you. I am also the chair of the Mental Health Advisory Board. Alongside me, we have Ms. Tracy Ritz as well, who will be assisting in hosting this actual first monthly webinar today. So our topic will focus on emotional resilience in the new year. However, I'd like to go over just a few key points of the Mental Health Advisory Board and our presence here in the city of Fayetteville. The vision behind me starting the Mental Health Advisory initiative in Fayetteville was to create a compassionate and accessible support system that empowers individuals, reduce stigma, and also foster emotional resilience within the community. Therefore, each month on the last Tuesday of the month at 6 p.m., we will host a webinar that taps into important mental health components and topics. We also post monthly news letters as well, and you can find them on the Fayetteville Facebook page, as well as our website as well. So please continue to take a look out for those actual items. And we are again thrilled to have you all here joining us and engaging in discussion of emotional resilience and strengthening mental health well-being within the city of Fayetteville. So just to give you just an understanding of what emotional resilience is, and we'll pretty much go over this in the presentation tonight as well, but I encourage you all to ask questions in the chat box. And if we do not get to those questions, please feel free to email me directly as well, and I'll be more than happy to answer any questions that I can. So emotional resilience is the ability to adapt, recover, as well as grow stronger in the face of adversity. This is the focus of tonight's webinar, and we want to provide you all some actionable items as well to start to implement as well. And both Ms. Ricks and myself will include some of our professional opinions and professional stances, also some real world scenarios that we use when we are working with our clients right here in Fayetteville or some of our neighboring cities. So in today's fast-paced world, resilience is essential for maintaining mental well-being, navigating issues, and fostering a positive mindset. So during tonight's session together, we will explore these key strategies to build resilience, including focus points on self-awareness, coping mechanisms, as well as the role of social support. And that's what we're trying to do here today. Stand in the gap, be that social support system for you here within the city of Fayetteville, and also provide some of those resources that are available to you, such as our mental health advisory hub that has a lot of great material there that we want to also bring forth to you all tonight. We will take you into the Mental Health Advisory Board hub as well towards the end of tonight so that we can kind of navigate that together as well. Ms. Ritz, do you have anything you would like to add to what I've just stated so far?
No, but good evening. Welcome, everybody. Glad that you guys made it.
Okay, so again, Ms. Ritz and I will share insight on how individuals, families, and communities can cultivate resilience to ensure overall mental health. We encourage you to participate again, ask questions, and take away practical tools that we actually show you tonight to apply into your personal and professional life. So again, thank you all for being here, and let's dive in. So here are some things that we're going to focus on tonight. Emotional resilience here, as well as the important key points that go into building and fostering emotional resilience. I like to focus a lot on self-awareness as well, because it kind of starts there when it comes to building and fostering emotional resilience, coping strategies for building emotional resilience. And Ms. Ritz will take us into the power of optimism and why that's important in fostering confidence within ourselves, and then transitioning into how do we build a strong support system. We'll look into some actionable items as well throughout this presentation tonight, but also resilience in action, some of those examples of real world situations that you may be presented with, and she and I will kind of collaborate there. And lastly, kind of tie it all together, strategies for developing emotional resilience. Lastly, we'll have some Q&A opportunities for you all if you want to provide some insight that you already may have on the topics as well. We definitely like to talk to everyone here that's come in tonight. But if you are in the mental health arena, definitely provide some guidance for the constituents here as well. So again, just defining what emotional resilience actually is. And let me move this over. Give me 1 second. Emotional resilience refers to the ability to adapt, of course, recover quickly, and I like to call elasticity. When I'm working with my clients, we always focus on elasticity, our ability to bounce back from any challenges, any traumas or stress that we are, engaging in our everyday life. And typically, it's not the big things that actually challenges us on a daily basis. It's those small things. So how do we navigate those small things before they become so major that we cannot handle them emotionally? So it also involves that bounce back ability, right? From difficult experiences in a way that promotes personal growth and well-being. Some key characteristics that we'll talk about as we continue to go on is the ability to manage intense emotions in tough situations. So there's a lot of tough challenges that are coming within society today. So how do we manage those, and how do we identify those triggers and stressors and those resources needed to minimize those challenges in our life, right? So maintaining perspective during stress and adversity, what we call cognitive reframing, looking at it in a different way, kind of helps with challenging situations and managing those challenging situations as well. Find strength in challenging circumstances to move forward. And another component that I talk about a lot when I'm working with my clients would be the differences between resilience and toughness, right? Resilience is not about being tough or unaffected by stress. It's about being able to process and recover from any challenges in our life in a actual healthy way. So how do we actually manage intense situations in tough situations? Again, focusing on self-awareness, those healthy coping strategies. And throughout the year, you're going to start seeing some things that'll pop up from the Mental Health Advisory Board. We're going to start focusing on some more data-driven approaches to kind of help you in this area as well. We have done some outreach to our citizens, and we've gotten that feedback that you all want workshops, and you all would like for us to have more educational platforms that you all can come in and tap into to get the information. So we'll continue to do those things, but also readying ourselves physically to help with the emotional challenges are important as well. So being able to do that is vital to this actual process, but identifying that emotion when it is actually impactful to you at that time and acknowledging what you're feeling, dealing with it head on without judgment to gain some forms of clarity. Reframe that situation, as I said, that cognitive reframing approach, looking at it in a more positive way. Focus on a more solution-based approach rather than dwelling on the negative aspects or the actual problem at hand. Using positive self-talk is another aspect that we focus on in counseling when I'm working with my clients as well. So training and teaching my clients how to replace those negative thoughts with positive affirmations and more rational type of statements. We talk a lot about cognitive distortions. That's a key point that I would like a lot of you all to look into. And cognitive dissonance. Those cognitive distortions impacts how we navigate different types of challenges in our day-to-day. If we're looking at things in a negative aspect, then it will impact us and as well as our outcome. So take a break. Take a break from that situation if you're feeling overwhelmed at that time. Step away temporarily and gain perspective to avoid making some of those impulse reactions. So you can have a solid understanding and grounding yourself in the actual situation in a more positive way, so that you can navigate that problem in a more positive way. Lastly, you'll hear me talk about a lot, is mindfulness. And on the Mental Health Hub, you'll see different types of uh, approaches to mindfulness as well. So again, I'll show you where those are at the end of this presentation tonight. So mindfulness focuses on us staying present, not ruminating or looking in our past. Stay present in the situation so that you can observe your emotions in the here and now without becoming so overwhelmed. So as a therapist, when I look at someone that is coming in, going through challenges at that moment, and I see that they're ruminating or looking in their past, I do see where they are more inclined to symptoms of depression. Whereas those that are looking in their future and feeling that they're out of control of things that are to come, you'll see an increase in anxiety. So to be able to identify where you stand there helps with identifying, like I stated, what emotion, what period are you working in, and then attaching those coping skills there. Does anyone have any questions thus far? And Ms. Ritz, if you can take a look at the chat, if you have access
Okay,
to
sure will. Thank you.
it. So the importance
No
of
questions.
emotional, no questions
No
at this time?
questions. No,
Okay,
ma'am.
awesome. So the importance of emotional resilience here. We're looking at just mental health as a whole. Resilience help reduce the impact of anxiety, again, depression, and chronic stress by promoting healthy coping strategies. Build emotional stability that allows us to navigate difficult emotions more effectively. Overall well-being is, of course, one of our goals, but we need that through our ability to adapt. So we'll talk more about adaptability shortly. So resilient individuals tend to have better physical and emotional health with lower rates of burnout in the workplace or just in everyday life, anxiety and fatigue. They experience greater life satisfaction, optimism, one key point that Ms. Ricks will talk about soon, and self-worth, kind of building that self-worth, understanding those self-concepts play a vital role in our overall well-being. And again, growth and adaptability. Those with high resilience can learn from negative experiences as well, looking at it from that standpoint, using them as an opportunity for growth as well as improvement. So looking at your strengths as well as your weaknesses. Resilience allows for continuous development and learning from life challenges. Ms. Ritz, would you like to add anything to?
Everything is just, I think it's a lot of it is self-explanatory as you're sharing with us. But I just wanted to also reiterate the fact, like you said, that, with this resilience, allow yourself to learn from those negative experiences instead of beating ourselves up and using it as an opportunity for growth and seeing our improvement. So that was excellent. So thank you. That was all.
Awesome. And again, becoming more adaptable, just as Ms. Ricks was highlighting, requires developing a flexible mindset, right? Embracing change, being able to understand that change is inevitable, and strengthening your problem-solving approach. Typically, when clients come to me and they're overwhelmed in their everyday life, they have what we call that one-track mind, right? They haven't explored all the possibilities that are out there. That is what my job is, right? Let's look into all these possibilities and opportunities for you. If your challenges have not been aligned with different alternatives to solve that problem, then it's going to have a higher probability of inducing stress in your life. So cultivating, that's one of the most important aspects here. Cultivating a growth mindset would be important. View challenges as an opportunity, again, to learn and grow rather than as an obstacle. Looking into that cognitive approach. How do we retrain our minds to look at things, even though they're challenging to us, but look at them as an opportunity of improvement. Stay open to change, accept that change is inevitable, and approach it with curiosity rather than, I would say, more of resistance. Improve your problem solving abilities as well. Learn to analyze situations more objectively and develop creative solutions when you're going through that problem solving approach. And again, my favorite word would always be mindful. Stay present in the moment, stay mindful and focus on the current moment rather than kind of lumping or grouping past,
Mhm.
current, and present into that situation that induces, again, worrying about things that are uncontrollable. So focus on those things at that time that you can control and not the things that you cannot control. So this is focusing on building more collective knowledge, right? How can we approach emotional resilience as we continue to navigate our everyday life? So some key components, again, self-awareness would be one, being in tune with your emotional state helps you to recognize when you're stressed, overwhelmed, and also anxious. Self-reflection, self-inventory is a part of the process. So sometimes we may need to look at some of those past experiences. Why though? We could be living off of some of those unhealthy coping mechanisms that we need to unpack. So sometimes I tell my clients, you may be living or navigating your life off of old coping mechanisms that are no longer useful to you today. So we need to unpack those, remove those, and let's start putting in that toolbox some new, current, more effective approaches to your situation. And remember, it's not an all-sum game. Everything needs to be approached on a case-by-case basis, not utilizing the same approach or same coping mechanism for each situation. So it's important to build that coping mechanism, that box, the coping mechanism box, with a lot of different types of things. So that's why you want to explore all of those resources that are available to you and recognizing those patterns that can help improve emotion regulations as well. So emotion regulation is the ability to manage one's emotional responses to challenging situations. You want to look into different techniques here. Here are a few to kind of build in this area on our mental health hub. Again, these are actually listed on there. Deep breathing, meditation, progressive relaxation are all calming mechanisms when you're going through challenging times as well. But building the self-awareness requires intentionality, reflection, mindfulness, and a willingness to understand yourself, right? So again, they're piggybacking off of one another for a more deeper, enriching experience for your life. So again, practicing mindfulness, paying attention to how you're feeling, your thoughts, your emotions, and your reactions in that present moment when you're presented with any type of challenges, right? I am a fan of journaling as well because it helps you to get those things out, right? When you don't have that support system, because I always have that question too. What if I don't have the support system and I don't have access to get the support system? Journaling states can be that stand-in place for you, right? So it allows you to release those thoughts, those feelings that you may have and identify those triggers. But I would always tell you to actually seek guidance from a counselor as well. So on the mental health hub, there is a link there too to help you find a therapist right here in your area. But in May, we will have a mental health walk where you can come out to the city and you'll be able to kind of navigate some of those opportunities there as well and get a lot of information so that you can start building on those tools. Seek honest feedback, kind of building that network of friends and family are important, mentors, colleagues, and allowing some constructive insight so that you can start building that self-awareness, identifying some of those strengths and some of those weaknesses, some areas where you may need to improve, and definitely patting yourself on the back, giving yourself grace and patience in those areas that you are doing amazing in. So how we talk to ourselves, how we treat ourselves are vital in the process of emotional resilience too. So again, shifting how we're talking to ourselves. So making sure that you're opening up your scope of understanding of who you are and then aligning with some of these great tools here as well. Monitoring your emotional responses are important to growth. So we're wanting to build that growth mindset as well. So we have to continue to do that self-inventory and paying attention to how we react to different situations and what actually influences and triggers us. Our emotions as well is important to build in a growth mindset. Reflect regularly. That's why I say journaling is a awesome way to do it, or just kind of freelancing, free writing, jotting down how you're feeling that day so you can have that release moment. I always tell my clients also have some type of self-care regimen as well, even if it's self-care Sunday. Establishing something now at the top of the year is important so that you can start the repetition of it and continuously doing it so that it becomes a part of your routine. All right. Self-care Sunday is one of my actual favorite routines. So that is something that you all can start building on now if you would like to do self-care or just carving out that time for you where that you can actually start implementing some type of regimen to help with building some resilience in the coming months and as far as moving forward. Challenging unhealthy thought processes and assumptions, dealing in the right now is important as well. One of my favorite theorist named B.F. Skinner, he once quoted that how we enter into a situation, being frame of mind, our thought processes will increase the probability of the outcome of that situation. So we engage in a positive way, then we increase the possibility of a positive outcome. So again, shifting that mindset and encouraging self compassion. Those are things that I work with my clients as well. Sometimes they have to do a compassion letter because we don't recognize how hard it is to say positive and wonderful things to ourselves. It's so much so that we have created a normacy of negativity in talking to ourselves. So creating that positive outlook is vital to the process as well and setting some personal goals. Where do you want to be in the next 30 days, in the next 60 days, and just moving forward in your life? Do you want to be more stable and more emotionally balanced and things of that nature? I always tell people, though, that there is a mind-body connection, so you still have to ready yourself physically to actually do so. So again, we're going to start looking into some of those things. There are a lot of great things coming out of the Mental Health Advisory Board when it comes to physical activities as well to get you all out of the house, to come out to meet the Mental Health Advisory Board and interact with us in a more open and personal type setting. Other components of emotional resilience, again, optimism, maintaining a hopeful outlook, even during hardships, seeing setbacks as temporary and believing that challenges can be overcome. Optimism influences how we respond to failure and hardships, making it easier to recover that elasticity, that bounce back approach, and continue pursuing our goals. Support systems. Where are those support systems for you? Who do you trust? Finding those trusted individuals or that social convoy that will take you throughout your life, right? You can have friends from college. You can have friends that you or family members. That social convoy have shown statistically as we transition into later life stages that social convoy is vital to mental health for our later life individuals here in the Fayetteville area as well. So finding that social convoy, and again, we want to stand in that gap as well, having those workshops and things of that nature for you in the coming future so that you can have that social support and build that social convoy to improve mental health or ensure the stability of mental health. So having a reliable support network helps buffer the effects of stress and can aid in problem solving. So again, the role of self-awareness. Let's recognize our emotions, being honest with ourselves, understanding what you're feeling and why allows you to respond more thoughtfully with less emotion. Self-awareness helps identify emotional triggers and prevent automatic negative responses. practice mindfulness. If one thing you pull out of tonight as a tool would be mindfulness. Mindfulness practices are vital to building self-awareness and just one of those tools to, put into that self-care box, right? So staying present in the moment can reduce the intensity of emotional reactions and improve emotional clarity. Mindfulness can help you acknowledge emotions without judgment, creating a space for balanced emotional responses. Self-awareness, again, that personal reflection, regular self-reflection, doing that self-inventory helps you to understand you, where you are, to help shape a more healthier emotional, psychological self, right? Journaling is one. There are a lot of other different techniques that we'll talk about each month as we continue to go on throughout our monthly outreach with you all, the first webinar, as well as looking at those newsletters. A lot of our other mental health advisory members will start doing some of these as well, starting every Tuesday again. So start looking into some of these techniques that we're looking or pretty much presenting to you tonight to help increase your awareness and that personal growth, as it does offer some insight to emotional growth as well. And then again, developing self-awareness is a continuous journey. It's not something that's completed overnight. But with this consistency, in anything of change, consistency is needed. With this consistency, you can gain a deeper insight into your thoughts, your emotions, your behaviors, leading to that goal of personal growth, as well as strengthening your relationships and those convoys that are needed throughout your life. So lastly, for me, going into some of those coping strategies, again, kind of tapping back into them for building resilience, problem solving. Remember to not take on everything all at once, kind of breaking it down, breaking those challenges down into small, manageable tasks by focusing on concrete solutions that you can actually deal with. Those situations that are uncontrollable, you want to start prioritizing them, right? So don't take too much on and create a plan of action to help in reducing feelings of helplessness. Self-care, that readying yourself physically. Nutrition is another. We will start talking about those as we continue throughout the year, kind of aligning you with some nutritional values. Adequate sleep is essential to maintaining an emotional balance. Getting creative, getting out there, getting hobbies, those different types of relaxation techniques that we talked about. Positive thinking. So challenging the mindset from negative and shifting it to a more positive. So those cognitive restructuring approaches that I previously talked about involves recognizing distorted thinking, so cognitive distortion, and replacing it with more balanced, realistic thoughts. And lastly, seeking help, reaching out for help when necessary is a crucial component of emotional resilience. Support from your social convoy, those friends, families, even professionals in the industry of mental health can offer new perspectives as well. So we're going to transition over to Ms. Ritz to do the next 3 slides, focusing on the power of positive optimism.
Okay, the power of optimism. Growth mindset is developed by psychologist Carol Dweck. A growth mindset helps individuals see failure as a part of the learning process rather than a permanent setback. It fosters a can-do attitude that builds resilience by encouraging perseverance. Also, cognitive reframing. This technique involves shifting your perspective to see challenges as opportunities for growth. And I often tell my clients, seeing obstacles as opportunities. For example, instead of thinking this is impossible, try thinking this is tough, but I can find a way to make it work. So cognitive reframing is very vital also to see how you could overcome any type of emotional challenges that you might be going through at this time. And I like to say grow through it. Also, gratitude practices. Focusing on the positive aspects of life, no matter how small, helps individuals maintain hope and reduce stress. For an example, I just had a situation in my life where my daughter was in a accident, and it was not as major as it could have been, but I told her we're going to focus on the gratitude of it, what did not happen. So gratitude is vital, you guys, and it works. Also having a gratitude journal. can increase happiness and resilience by shifting focus from problems to solutions. I was the kind of person used to focus on all of my problems, and I was wondering why I stayed overwhelmed. But gratitude journals are, when I say a game changer, it definitely started increasing my personal happiness and my resilience because it caused me to shift my focus from the problem to the solution. So we always want to focus on the solution. Once again, this is impossible. Instead of saying, this is impossible or thinking it's impossible, this is tough, but I can find a way to make it work. So remember that gratitude changes our attitude. Next, building a strong support system. Oh my goodness, I really, really want to stress to you guys the importance of having a strong support system. That includes families and friends. Well, excuse me, your family and friends. It could be families if you have more than one. But family and friends, close relationships with family and friends provide emotional reassurance and a sense of safety. Sharing feelings with others can relieve stress and create bonds that strengthen resilience. But I always share this with my clients that make sure it's family and friends who are not going to point out the negative. Those who are positive, sometimes people, they share with me that family and friends can be negative sometimes, So if you have family and friends that you can, go to and they'll encourage you and not discourage you, that will be a great support system. Also, community, engaging in social groups, clubs, or professional networks fosters a sense of belonging, reducing feelings of isolation. Connection to community builds emotional resilience by providing shared experiences and mutual support. I am very, very strong on community, the right community. We have an empowerment club for women where we go in, twice a month, and it really fosters an environment that lets you know you're loved, you're supported, that you're in a safe space to be able to express your feelings and the things that you need to discuss. Now, professional help, I really believe in having someone in your life, a counselor, a therapist, or coach, a mentor, a pastor, someone who can offer, if they're professional, they can offer a structured, supportive environment to work through emotional challenges. And notice we're talking about professional help, not someone who want to be a therapist. A lot of times I've spoken with clients and they have people in their life who want to be a professional and they're giving them advice that's just making the situation worse instead of better. So make sure you seek professional help if it's someone who's been trained professionally as a counselor, not someone who want to be, or a therapist or a coach with the credentials. I tell my clients, someone who's been authorized and qualified to speak into your life. This can offer a structured, supportive environment to work through any emotional challenges. And once again, seeking professional guidance is an important step towards building long-term emotional resilience, especially after trauma. And I know a lot of times in certain cultures, people look at seeking help as a sign of weakness, but I always share with my clients it's a sign of strength when I reach out and say, look, I need help. And that's also a part of being self-aware. So these are just some of the examples that I'm giving you guys about building a strong support system. And I encourage you to take advantage of, once again, family and friends, those who you can go to that's going to encourage you, those who are going to give you, the positive reinforcement of you can do this, you can make it through this. Having the right community is so vital. And then also, once again, seek professional help, which is a sign of strength and not a sign of weakness, as a lot of us have been taught. And I was taught that in my past. So I'm encouraging you guys to be resilient. Okay. So once again, I love the way Dr. Glover expressed resilience, So let's talk about resilience in action. She really gave us a great example about when we talk about being resilient, we're not talking about just being tough or unaffected, but being able to process and recover from whatever you're going through in a healthy way. So for an example, after losing a job, John reframes the situation as an opportunity to explore a new career path. He updates his resume, reaches out to a mentor for advice, and begins job hunting with renewed enthusiasm. So instead of being depressed, oh, I lost my job, what am I going to do, going into a depression, he decided to be active. He decided to do something about it. So I like that example of him saying that I'm going to update my resume. reach out to a mentor for advice and begin what? Job hunting, with what? Renewed enthusiasm. I like that. Also, another example is after the loss of a loved one, Sarah leans, on her family and attends grief counseling. She learns to process her emotions in a healthy way, creating space for healing. Once again, we're not talking about being tough and I got to be strong for everybody else and I never have a time to process my grief. But Sarah said she leaned on her family and attend grief counseling. She learned to process her emotions, what? In a healthy way, creating what? Space for her healing. Example number 3. Despite being diagnosed with a chronic illness, Mark focuses on what he can control. Notice on what he can control. He adopts a healthier lifestyle, joins a support group, and learns to manage his stress through mindfulness. And I really believe in mindfulness because whatever we think about is going to cause us to either feel like we can do it or we can't do it. I know you guys have probably heard this quote and by Henry Ford, whether you think you can or think you can't, you're right. If you think you won't make it through that illness, if you've gotten this diagnosis, we're not saying to ignore the fact that you have that diagnosis, but we're saying to focus more on what you can control. Maybe you need to start eating healthier, join a support group and learn to manage your stress through mindfulness. And I have learned that in my life, it has been very vital as far as the way I have dealt with, bad news, anything that could cause me emotional stress. I lean on my support group and also mindfulness that's vital. So these are 3 examples that maybe some of you guys can relate to. And if you have any questions about something you might be going through right now, reach out to us through the chat.
And this is just tying it all together, right? Pretty much bringing everything together in a nutshell and things that we've talked about, kind of building that self-esteem, that high self-esteem and how it ties into resilience, loving yourself, speaking positivity into yourself, having the flexibility of your mindset, being open to other possibilities and alternatives to problem solving, strengthening that relationships, all your relationships, building that social convoy, and not being intimidated to reach out when you recognize that you need some help. Spiritual freedom as well, being able to reach out to your local churches, finding a way to ground yourself in your challenges in a positive way is an effective part of emotional resilience. Looking at this pretty much this tree, how do we continue to foster this, right? So positive coping strategies, we talked about a few of them tonight, and we'll continue to revisit them throughout our monthly chats with you all as we move forward and continue to build on emotional regulations and those important pillars to move us towards emotional intelligence. Mindfulness will always be one that you're going to hear a therapist talk about because we're trying to reshape your mindset, how you're looking at things, and how that approach plays a vital role in how you're going to cope in those situations, and just having that non-judgmental mindset, giving yourself that grace and compassion as well. Many of my clients give grace and compassion to their friends, but not to themselves. So how do we create that environment for ourselves as well? So building that safe space for yourself that you may also build for others. So this brings us towards the end of the first monthly mental health webinar, but I'm going to transition before we end tonight just to kind of show the mental health hub so that you all can see. So give me 1 second for that transition.
So while she's transitioning, if you have any questions, you can go ahead and type it in the chat.
Any questions that you all can think of, or any, again, any advice that you would like to provide to anyone? Okay, are you all able to see the City of Fayetteville Mental Health Hub here? So the idea of our hub here was to kind of streamline care to you all. And looking at it from a developmental standpoint so that, you can go directly to those sources. Okay, I see a thumbs up in the chat as well. So here, just exploring the page, I would like for you all to kind of take some time, go to Fayetteville GA-mental health hub.org to look at some of these resources that are available. And it's based off a developmental period that is a psychologically driven. And again, we are data driven here. So we have been sending out surveys and getting a lot of information. And what we're seeing is that we need to focus more on educating our community, building those workshops. These are things that you all communicated to us as a mental health board and things that you all are wanting to actually see. So take some time to come and look into these different types of resources that are available to you all so that you can ensure that you are tapping into the available resources within your actual area for finding different types of assistance, finding educational training, just mental health for college students as some of our students get ready to transition soon for graduation. And again, some other tools that we have already talked about by building or creating that self-care regimens, right? Hopefully that's what we're going to start building together over the next few months together. Talking about stress and anxiety. How do we manage stress and anxiety? Giving you some understanding of the mindfulness components that we're talking about. Stress for our children as well, understanding that our kids have stress as well, the challenges in their everyday life. So recognizing their stressors and not putting them aside and not believing that they're stressors or minimizing their stressors or as not important. So looking into these resources can be very important too to start building those coping skills that you all would need. And again, we're always here for assistance. And again, every Tuesday at the end of the month, we'll come in and you'll get a chance to meet all of the mental health board members. They will host their own meetings as well. And we did put out the newsletter at the top of this month. So you'll see each webinar that's going to actually take place. So you can kind of pinpoint which one you want to attend as well. And again, please be on the lookout for some of those other things that we're going to have coming in the future here. Ms. Ricks, do you have anything that you want to tap into before we conclude?
Just encouraging everybody to take advantage of the resources that's available. And I
And
really
we,
enjoyed, you guys tonight. If you have any questions, don't be afraid to reach out, type it in the chat. And we're just looking forward to connecting with you guys. Someone asked, will we have the
yes.
meetings once a month at the same time? And I responded, yes. Is that correct?
Yes,
Okay,
absolutely.
thank you.
Every the last Tuesday. And we
Okay.
also have the mental health advisory board meetings. There are open meetings to the public. You can come in the first Tuesday of every month at 5:30. So please come in, share your thoughts. Let us know what you're needing from us. Again, we are here for you. We're standing in the gap. If you need someone to talk to, let us know. We can direct you to those resources, but we want you to know that you're not by yourself and you have some mental health professionals. We have some nurse practitioners on the board. So we have a well-rounded board that can be here and stand in that gap for you if you need some assistance. So I'm glad to see that you did enjoy the first session. So please make sure you continue to come and share if you have anything to share as well. Yes, the Mental Health Advisory Board meetings are at Fayetteville City Hall. As Danny just highlighted, in our training room upstairs at 5:30 first Tuesday. So we will have one next Tuesday, the first Tuesday of February. So please come and join us. Does anyone have any other questions for us? Again, thank you so much for joining. Thank you, Ms. Selena. Thank you so much for joining. And again, reach out to us if you need anything. It was a pleasure meeting and speaking with each one of you. We'll see you next month or at the advisory board meeting. So I'd love to meet some of you all in person. Have a great rest of the night and a great rest of the week.
Have a great night. Thank you all.
Bye.
Bye.